take gigs, this is true, was at a prison. Yeah, I performed in front of 200 inmates, and there is nothing that makes you feel worse as a comedian than to be performing and watching a couple of inmates walk out. Because you know, they're just going back to their cell, that's it. That's it. There's not another room with midnight bowling or a movie. Those inmates were watching me on stage and they're like, you know what? I'd rather be in a cage right now. How about you? I would get stabbed so quickly in prison because I have a terrible snoring problem. It's bad. And I know it's bad because when people hear it, the next day they're not like, that was really annoying. They're like, you gotta get that checked out immediately. I watch you sleep. You stop breathing for like 40 seconds. I'm like, why didn't you wake me? Because I wanted you to die. So I went to the doctor and it turns out I have sleep apnea, which if you don't know, that's a medical condition where you're so out of shape that sleep is just a little too much exercise for you. That is where I'm at in my life right now. I am not ready for the intense workout of lying in my bed for 8 hours. It could kill me. Fortunately, I don't have to wake up early. I used to be a substitute teacher, and in the training to be a sub, they said, don't have sex with any of the kids. And the guy next to me wrote that down. I was like, what are you doing, buddy? You know that's a law, right? That's not just school policy. You should not be learning anything right now. You should hardly be knowing that shit. And you should definitely not be writing it down like you might forget again. They found my name weird as a sub. My name is Ra'anan Hirschberg. It's a name that starts Jewy and just keeps on going. My middle name is Bagel, Lox, and Cream Cheese Yom Kippur Steve. I'm a Jew from Kentucky. Yeah. And I live in New York now, and everyone in New York, when they hear that, they're like, how did a Jew end up in Kentucky, huh? I thought all the Jews were here, hey! And I'm like, well, when my grandpa left Europe before the Holocaust, he wasn't very picky. That's how. He wasn't like, I don't know, Auschwitz or Louisville, let me think about it. Hard choices. I like Judaism. I like the Old Testament. That's the one we follow. I love how it begins. It's like in the beginning, God said, let there be light, and it was good. I love that, and it was good. It's like right away, he's such a Jewish God. It was good. It could have been better if I had a little more time. But for 6 days, it's not that bad. For 6 days, it's okay. If I had 2 weeks, it would have been great. But for 6 days, it's all right. I don't mean to make fun of religion. People get touchy. People get touchy about everything. People were mad about the Beauty and the Beast remake last year. Because apparently there was a scene that suggested Gaston's sidekick LeFou is gay. And I watched the movie, it's blown so out of proportion. All it is at the end of the movie, there's a dance, and there's just a quick shot of LeFou banging a guy. That's it. That's it. It's 45 minutes long. Hey, look, I get why homophobes don't like that movie. I get it. Because what do homophobes always say? Well, if you let gay people get married, what's next? Someone marrying an animal? And that's literally the plot of Beauty and the Beast, so I get it. like the excuses for prejudice. I find them fascinating. One time my grandpa said something racist, and my mom tried to defend it. She was like, well, he's from a different time. He's from a different time. I'm like, yeah, but the only problem with that is he's not. He's from right now. He was from a different time, and then time moved forward, and he's still in freaking time. That's how time works. Certain old people, not the ones here tonight, you're all great, but certain old people only have trouble adjusting to racism and homophobia. They don't have trouble adjusting to other changes, and it's hypocritical. Like an old person will be like, I don't think black and white people should date, because that's not how I was raised. And that's fine, you can say that, but then I don't ever see you riding an escalator. Because you weren't raised with that shit either. Every time you see an escalator, you should be like, who put this roller coaster in the mall? And just run away. Sometimes I read articles that make me furious. I read an article recently, it might divide the room a little, or further than I've tried to divide it already. The article is a true story by Karen Balliard of the Washington Post. A true story about an octopus named Inky that crawled out of a tank in a New Zealand aquarium, went through the window and back into the ocean. And the line in the article that made me so angry, Karen Balliard of the Washington Post wrote, "This cephalopod version of Shawshank Redemption." She compared it to Shawshank Redemption, even though it is the exact freaking ending of Finding Nemo. Exact ending. So I wrote her an email. I got a lot of time on my hands. Dear Karen, never in my life have I been more outraged by a missed opportunity to reference Finding Nemo. Your inability to notice that all the elements of the story you were covering were almost identical to the escape scene in Finding Nemo is an even greater injustice than what Tim Robbins had to endure in Shawshank Redemption. How can you make such a glaring error? The only excuse I can come up with is that you ironically suffer from the same form of dementia Dory suffers from. In conclusion, aquariums are nothing like prisons. For example, fish don't walk out when you're performing stand-up at a goddamn aquarium. Sincerely, Ron-On, Bagel, Lox, and Cream Cheese, Yom Kippur, Stan Hirschberg. She didn't write back. But 2 months later, she came out with another article that I couldn't help but perceive as a very secret and coy F you to me. And this was a line in that article. Convicted killer Matt Harris recently escaped from a prison in Tennessee by using power tools to dig a hole through his cell. A hole he covered up each morning behind a poster of Rita Hayworth. This human version of Finding Nemo